No. Here we go. 5 seconds. 3, 2. What is going on here? All right. We should be live here. All right, guys, we are live in Prospecting Powerhouses. What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are having a great day. I'm here with Bryan Rambo, POD Hall of Famer. He's here to talk about his story and how he brought his digital marketing agency from about $1,100 per month in revenue to over $10,000 in about 45 days, and how you guys can do it too, guys. So, Bryan, welcome to the show, man. Happy to have you here.
Yeah, thanks for having me on here, Alex.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Excited to hear about your story. Let's just get this kicked off here. Can you first of all tell us what your business is and what you guys currently do?
Yeah, so we're a digital marketing agency. We focus on Facebook ads and SEO for clients. We also do graphic design and websites. But yeah, that's about it. And we've got 10, 11 clients now.
Wow. Okay, excellent. And let's. I would love to know essentially how you got started in the industry. So you have 10 clients now. Obviously, the business is going well. How'd you get started in the digital marketing world?
Well, I first discovered it actually because I was doing retail arbitrage with Amazon, and I was like, this kind of isn't that fun. So I ended up hopping into that side of it, and I figured out the SEO of Amazon and stuff, and I was like, this kind of translates over to SEO. Next thing I know, I'm finding all these books on how to start your own marketing agency. And so I just kind of jumped in it with my buddy who's really creative, and we were like, let's do this. If we're going to do it, let's like actually really go 100% at it. So that's kind of where we started with it. And yeah.
When you started, was your goal to have like a surefire marketing agency, or was it more along the lines of building a business? Was it an entrepreneurial passion, or was it more like a monetary goal?
It was more entrepreneurial.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, the money comes as a benefit of doing what you enjoy. And this stuff is fun, and I enjoyed the sales aspect of it, and I like helping businesses. And when you show them that kind of return that they're getting on their money, it's a good feeling.
Absolutely, 100%. I love that. So, Bryan, for anyone that doesn't know, Bryan is a POD Hall of Famer. POD Hall of Famer pretty much is anyone that has gone through the Prospecting on Demand trainings, implemented it, and really had major success from it. So prior to joining Prospecting on Demand, I do recall that your major issue was in prospecting in general, lead generation. I know you were saying at the time that, like you mentioned just now, Nick, I believe, right?
Yes.
He's very skilled with creative aspect. You're very good with closing. You guys were kind of a natural, but you needed a method of qualified lead generation consistently, right?
Exactly. And it was my whole thing was if I can get in the door, we can kind of take it from there. And I was just struck. The paradox of being a digital marketing agency is that, in order to get more clients, you need a case study. But in order to get a case study, you need to have the clients. And so I was kind of stuck in that dilemma. And I had a little problem with pricing the service. I just didn't really fully understand. I mean, like I said, I kind of just jumped into it. Didn't really know everything by any means. I still don't. And but I struggled with that, and I remember having a call with you talking about that and everything. And then joining Prospecting on Demand. It not only did implementing the processes, but the confidence. I mean, just having a group of people that you can kind of go to and talk to was. I've met a lot of great people through it, and that I think is way more valuable than actually just the trainings. Is the network of the family that you get there. Because I still talk to a couple people every day from it that are helping me out with different campaigns that I'm running.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, I think, something you mentioned I think is super powerful. Two things I want to touch on. In terms of the community aspect, that's so important. You don't even have to be just in a paid aspect, like even having Prospecting Powerhouses here. Guys, anyone watching this now, feel free to connect with people. The big thing in this agency and entrepreneurship, a lot of people feel like they're isolated. They're alone. They have no one there to help them out. They have to pay for everyone's time. It's like if you have value to provide and you could also glean value from someone else, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone and talk to them. Like that's really the first step to being able to be a successful business owner in the first place, stepping out of your comfort zone and reaching out to them. I think that's how you and I first spoke in the first place. You reached out to me, you're like, hey, Alex, I'm seeing you doing a lot of things. I'm trying to do these things. Let's chat. And we got on a call and look where we are,
exactly. I remember that call. It wasn't long ago. That's the funny thing.
Right? It's about getting to that point, just like being able to ask. Some people, do it without any problem for you as an example, and other people get stressed out over it. For anyone watching here who's kind of an introvert, maybe a little bit nervous about reaching out, just step out of your comfort zone and reach out to 3 people in the next week and see if you achieve that. If you do, pat yourself on the back and then try 5 the next week and try to learn from that. One other thing that you mentioned, I just want to bring this up because I hear it all the time. And it is such a paradox. The idea of to sell a client, you need to have a case study. Now, obviously, that's not always the case. There's plenty.
I agree. I mean, I landed my first 2, but that was my mentality. Looking back now, I totally agree with you on that. You don't need one at all.
For sure. So I agree with you. There's definitely plenty of people out there that are cynics, right? Like they're not going to close with you unless you have a case study, which is fair, especially if your offering is something in the 10,000 range, like a very high marketing budget, because you're going to work with a lawyer and make their entire system. Well, if you've never worked with a lawyer before and you've never had any sort of case study, why would you expect that he's going to pay you 10 grand? Okay, it's a little different than a $1,500 a month client, which for a lot of businesses and a lot of people, $1,500 is not something to just say, oh, well, it's just $1,500. But in the realm of large businesses, a $1,500 marketing budget, that's nothing. That's chump change. So one thing I'll mention is don't allow yourself, like Bryan just mentioned, don't allow yourself to have a limiting belief that you can only close a client if you have, if you have a case study. That's a limiting belief. You don't need to think that way.
Exactly.
Now, if you do believe that you have to have a case study, I think there's a couple really great ways to get your first case study. One, JV with someone that's already had success in that industry and just ask them for a case study. Say, hey, if you give me this case study, I'll share with you, I'll share with you 10% of the revenue, or I'll share you can do the fulfillment and I'll do the sale, whatever it may be. You could do something of that nature. You can also go on LinkedIn and search for people in your area, people that are in the same digital marketing niche as you, and ask them, hey, can I have a case study? Reach out to them on Facebook, email them, LinkedIn, connect with people, create opportunities, right? Do you have any, comments on how you generated your case studies, or were you also going along the lines of, I'm just going to try to close someone without a case study anyways?
I closed somebody without a case study. It's funny, actually, my first client now, they're actually going to be, so we run Facebook ads for them and SEO. And I started out, because it was my first client, we talked about this, I priced it way too low. And I was like, all right, well then I'm going to basically offer more and I'll do it all myself is kind of how I did it. Well, now next month they're going to be Health Magazine came across them through a Facebook campaign that I did. Women's Health, I'm sorry. And next month or the month after, they're going to be the featured product in the magazine. So they're a small startup, and she's actually a personal friend of mine. So they're really it's stuff like that to see is really great. And not only that, but the SEO side of it, they've gone from 800 a month in sales to close to 10 grand. So I already built my own case study just from going in and doing it. Now I have this that I can go everywhere else with. And it's really nice. It's great. But no, I wasn't too worried about not having. I'm not afraid to ask for help. It takes 30 seconds of courage to do anything. And if you definitely are an introvert, you gotta ask. That's all there is to it.
Really got to break out of the comfort zone. I like the comfort zone challenge.
I'm definitely more extroverted than most people. And so it's not necessarily as big of a problem for me, but I know Nick doesn't like it, and I've been forcing him out of his shell just because it helps. You can't grow if you just stay in the same place. You've got to be okay with not getting a client. That's a big thing too. Is you're not going to land every one, but if you don't try, are you ever going to find out? And I feel like a lot of people, they want to do this, but they're just not. They're not motivated enough to kind of get out of their shell, and that's really what it comes down to.
Man, one thing that you said that really resonates with me, and Steven just posted it here. It takes 30 seconds of courage to do anything. That is so real, so real. I heard
Yeah.
something from Will Smith of all people recently about like this idea that when you get nervous about something or you're afraid of something, like the biggest opportunities in your life are consistently over the obstacle. Like they're right behind the courage obstacle. They're right behind getting over this simple hump of like fear or being nervous. And the way that he positioned it was people that like are in a group that want to go skydiving, right? And before you go skydiving, you're like, yeah, I'm so excited. Let's go skydiving. And then you're at the skydiving place. And you're like, oh my God, I am freaked out right now. I am scared. I don't know if I want to go. I'm really nervous. And then you get up in the air and now your heart's pumping and you're really, really scared. And then you jump. And as you jump, it's the greatest moment of your life. You're elated. It's the coolest experience. And all that fear you had wasn't anything. Now you're in that moment. Now you're in that excited state. And I think that's true in business too. Like, if you're really nervous about reaching out to someone, you're really nervous about picking up the phone or asking someone for help, overcome it. Because the worst thing that can happen is they say no, and then you learn from it and you move on. Yeah,
like I said, the rejection, at least I'd rather not, okay, no, got it. Rather than, oh, what if I asked them? I'd rather, that's exactly it. And the more you do it, though, the more comfortable it becomes, too.
100%. 100%. What's up, Patrick, Steven? I see you guys. Austin, thanks for checking us out here. So let's get to the nitty gritty. I know what people are here for. We got a crazy story here from Bryan Rambo. So let's talk about your little progress. And yes, guys, we will definitely touch upon Bryan's last name. Yes, he's Rambo. Yes, Sylvester Stallone action going down. We will mention it at the end of this. All right. So after going through Prospecting on Demand, implementing the trainings, you were able to go from about $1,150 a month to just over about $10,000 per month in about 45-ish days, about a month and a half. So Can you tell us a bit about the process? Like, what's really changed for you in the 45 days? Like, what have you been implementing? What have you been trying out that's been a huge, benefit for you and your business?
What I've been doing, I've been working less now. Those 45 hours were also, so I held down a day job. I was working 40 hours a week for, and then I was doing this full time. And I also have another business that I do it's just in real estate. So it's a long play for me. So I stay busy on that end, but I was probably putting in 90-hour weeks. And most of it was on this, aside from my day job. Now I've actually gotten to the point I turned in my 2 weeks at my day job because I was like, I'm done with it.
Go. Congrats.
And what happened is they came back and told me they'd like me to stay on, and ended up negotiating. So now I actually work less there. So I work about 20 hours and I make the exact same.
You're living the dream right now.
Sources of income. So that's kind of where I was there. And but I mean, I was going to so I didn't get on LinkedIn. I built mine without getting on LinkedIn. And we just started actually doing our own high ticket funnel. All of mine was local. I'm really trying to build the whole business of a local business that's, trying to help other local businesses. And that's all there is to it. I think that what I did was I went to a lot of meetups. I went to a lot of e-commerce groups, a lot of the Chamber of Commerce. I also went to that, and B&E and all of that stuff. And I just talked. People asked when you tell them what you do, and I kind of said, I own Pattern SEO. We help businesses rank on page one of Google, and we help manage Facebook campaigns. And they naturally, and I just sit back down. I just kind of relax there, and before you know it, they're coming up to you asking, talking about it. Okay, so I see all these things on my Facebook, blah 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 blah, and then you just kind of you can provide value right there if you know what you're actually talking about. And it's an easy. I thought those were layup sales, and it really was. And so that's kind of where I've been now. And then after I got my first 6 clients there, and everything else now is actually coming in through referrals. I've just actually had 3 referrals this week. I got to follow up on 2 of them after this.
Have you created a referral system for your business?
What's that?
Have you created a referral system for your business?
No, it's just from the work. They hey, so I talked to Zarina. Hey, I talked to Dick, something like that. And, ended up reaching out. So that's how the last, 6 have come through that. I did in the beginning offer, to try and land a client. I offered, like, if you can bring me 3 clients that'll pay at least 50, my regular rate, I'll do your campaign for free.
Awesome. Okay, so I like that. I want to touch upon something regarding that and like the system behind referrals, because like you said, you just landed what, 3 clients in the last week. What is that revenue?
I got to follow up on them.
So if they become clients, what's the revenue you're looking at on that? 4,000.
One of them, 2 of them are $1,500 a month. The other one's $2,500 a month.
That's incredible. So I mean, you're talking about over $5,000 in revenue from referrals, potential, obviously. And everyone's always talking about referrals as like, oh, well, I'd love to just get more referrals. I think a really great thing for you and for people watching here today, in order to increase referrals, and something that we do all the time, is ask. And if you not only ask, but you also create a system behind it, and you offer a percentage off of their next month, or a percentage off consistently, or offer them either a free month of service if they can provide you 3 clients or whatever it may be. If you create some sort of system and test it out, it will allow you to create more revenue. One thing that I saw that was so powerful, I can't remember where I saw it. I wish I can give credit, but I just don't remember. But basically they said, it was along the lines of, can I ask you, Chris, let's say you're my client. Hey, Chris, if would you be willing to, would you want $500 for 10 to 12 seconds of your time? Because that's literally all I'm asking you to do. Give a call up someone for 10 seconds, tell them that you enjoy our service and that you should speak to him. And suddenly you're going to get paid a referral bonus for doing that for us. And it becomes an easy way to generate more referrals.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the best way to do referrals is by giving good service. So that's clearly going.
Yeah, it's working well. And not only that, but we've got a client that we're working with right now that if we do it well for him, he's a mortgage loan officer, and there's 14 other branches in the East Coast that he'll basically open the door, and he's like, I'll do the selling for you guys. He's like, I'll just get your foot in the door. So let's make a case study out of mine and we'll go forward. So, and I'm actually working with somebody in POD on that. He's actually helping me out with it. 2 people actually. So it's been great.
POD love. I love hearing that. That's awesome.
And if I can, like I said, I love it. I can't complain, because the help aspect, you can't do this alone. I don't think, until you get to a certain point.
I think that's definitely important.
But people don't understand that. They just want to. I didn't understand it. I was making $11 a month, and I thought I got it, but it takes time, and hindsight's 20/20.
Of course. I think what's the amazing thing is that, people like, first of all, this business wasn't even a business 10 years ago. They barely even had Facebook business pages, I think, 10 years ago, let alone ads. And it's so unique. Like, we're in such a social world, like you can't be off the grid. Like, it's impossible. Like, you're on Instagram and you're on Snapchat and you're on Facebook and you're on Twitter and you're on YouTube. There's so much social aspect to everything, but there's such a huge disconnect, right? It's crazy, the disconnect that you see with people. Like, you see someone out there and they become just like a figurehead behind the computer. Like, they're not a human anymore. The reality is, though, everyone's a human. We're all in this really together. We're all trying to figure this out at the same time. Feeling free to reach out to other people, it can't hurt you. It really can't. And we've already brought this up twice now because of the power of connecting.
Your network is your net worth. I've heard it a million times. Like, it's the truth, though. The people you hang out with, the people you associate with, are what you're going to be. And it's, have you ever heard that the 5 people, the average of the income of the 5 people you hang out with the most is what you make? And it's so true. Well, at least for me it was. And I was like, I got to change something here. So, it's been fun, though. It's been a lot of fun. And go Bobcats. I saw somebody say that. Pop up.
Go Joe. Yeah.
Joe. My main service that I offer is Facebook ads. It's by far the easiest. And then what I kind of do is I upsell them on the SEO after they see a return. Because then they've got money and they're like, oh, this is great. How can I apply it to, and you just say, all right, well, now is kind of, but I don't before I was selling SEO first, and it's just a harder sell. And Facebook advertising, or Google AdWords too, whatever, we just make a funnel for them, give it, and do it that way. And it's, that way has been great. Basically giving them a return right away, and then being able to upsell them the SEO it's a lot better, and it's a lot easier of a sale.
Yeah, and Bryan was answering Patrick Whitson's comment, which you guys can see now here on the screen. By the way, I'm using Be Live TV for anyone asking. It's really cool product, so feel free to use it. It's free. But yeah, Patrick, same thing that I would say regarding Bryan's answer. Yeah, I think SEO is a much tougher sell. It's an easy upsell, but it's also a really hard front end sale because at the end of the day, say it again.
It's time consuming.
Right.
Especially if you want to keep everything in-house, you don't want to fulfill a lot of it. I mean, I outsource some stuff, but I like to keep everything in-house, especially the funnels. It keeps Nick happy.
Right.
But it's just a lot of work, the SEO side of it. Whereas Facebook, you see a quick return, and it's a lot easier. It's front-end heavy, yes, but I don't know.
Also, you can charge more for Facebook because you can make a Facebook funnel. You charge for the funnel. You charge for the setup of the campaign. Then you charge monthly. If you're doing really, really well and it's a client that's making several $1,000s for you, you can even bypass the management fee, move into a percentage opportunity. I've seen a lot of people do that with lawyers and doctors specifically because of the opportunity. They're bringing in leads that are worth 5, 10, 20 grand. Why wouldn't you do that over a $1,500 management fee if you're confident in your services? But in terms of like, you know, SEO as a front end offer, of course people do it. If people's entire business is SEO, but at the end of the day, SEO is a long-term play. You know, like you're not going to get someone the ranking on SEO like on Google in 1 month. It's not going to happen. And guess what? People, the owners of the business don't understand. Even if you do a great job of explaining it on the front end, 30 days later, they're going to definitely be asking, why are we not one yet? Why are we not in the first page? You know, it's just part of the business.
My ranking dropped.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then you go there, but with Facebook ads, you have proof in the pudding right there. Well, look, here's how many calls you got. Here's the leads you had. Here's the revenue. It's so much easier to sell that with proof. And SEO is a great upsell opportunity as well. I think, you know, Patrick, I hope that answered your question, but I think in the long run, I think Facebook ads or Google ads upfront will be better. You know, and I think it is.
And I think the best way to position SEO sales, I do want to touch on this because I use this a lot, and I don't know why. Finance is kind of my background. I mean, IT and finance. And I tell people with SEO, you know, they're like, oh, so you'll get me ranked on page one. At first I say, hey, look, it's a time-consuming task, but it's basically an investment in an asset. You're investing in your asset, which is your website. It's like when you buy a 30-year bond, you don't walk into a bank next week and say, cash me out.
Exactly.
It's basically, you know, you've got to understand that this is going to take time and it'll compound on itself, but you have to give it the time to show. So if you're impatient, Facebook, and I'll sell them on that all day. But if they're willing to put in the time and be okay with that, and I'm very clear about that up front, because also it gives me a little bit more room for cushion too. You know, if it takes me a little while to kind of get it going, I can still, you know, I can validate it with that. Say, look, we covered it. And that's just, and people, yeah, thank you. I think I might have coined that one myself. I don't know, it might be out there. But I definitely say that's a great way to kind of soften the sale for that too, because you're being transparent about it.
You have to be transparent always. Someone asked me this the other day on Prospecting Powerhouses. They're like, hey, if I don't have experience, can I pretend that I do? Well, no. Why would you lie? Like, you don't need to lie in order to close. And if you do lie, you're eventually going to get caught up in it. And then you're going to look like a jerk off later on, and you're going to be upset with yourself. And it's not worth it. I promise you it's not worth it. You will be able to be successful without lying. It's not needed. Transparency is so important in your sales and consultation because you want these people that you're, you know, partnering with, your clients, to trust you. You want them to believe in your service and your offering because that's how you're also going to get referrals. That's how you're also going to have them stay with you for several years, right? A lot of people that I speak to in this industry, they're only keeping clients for a couple months because they either did a poor job of explaining what the offering was on the first month, you know, not being transparent enough, or not delivering what they actually promised to deliver because they promised something that they can't guarantee on the sales call. That's a problem, you know? I think in sales, it's really, really important to avoid the scenarios of like making any guarantees. I just don't think it's important or necessary to make guarantees. Because
I agree. I completely agree. Well, there's no such thing as guarantees. I mean,
exactly.
That's the thing. You're not guaranteed anything in life. And to kind of sell it on that. And I see all these people that are like, oh, we don't get paid until you get paid. on Facebook ads and stuff. I see that all the time
crazy.
for that. And I'm just like, why are you doing that? Like, I get it. But I mean, I've got a guy who reaches out like bi-weekly, and one of my clients just forwards me all of his emails. Like, whatever we're paying you, we'll cut it in half and all of this. And he sends it to me, he laughs about it, and I'm just like, yeah, I mean, he's like, I get this literally every week. He's like, I mean, I'm not worried about it, and he's comfortable enough to show me that. I got his email address now, though, so I'm going to make a junk email, start spamming it. Nah, I'm just kidding.
have a fake email list, like, hey,
yeah, like, listen up here.
Don't snipe my clients, bro.
But that's another thing is like everybody's like cutthroat competition in this industry and everything. And that might be true. But at the same time, I think that there's plenty of pie to go around. And and everybody that's ever talked with me about it, they're like, oh, but that's like such a competitive, like there's so many. I remember when I first started, I had the idea. I went to one of my buddies, like, that's not going to work, dude. There's like, just looked it up. There's like 60 like marketing companies in Cincinnati on Google. I was like, dude, I don't care. I was like, there's somebody out there that needs my service. And, and now I'm here, and he's just like, oh yeah, I guess you were gonna. And it's the funny thing is, I still talk to him. He's still one of my very close friends. But he's like, okay, I get what you're saying now. It's like, if you look at everything as it's competitive and you're not going to get anyone, okay, there's not going to be any fish in the ocean. But if you're like, okay, yeah, there's people out there that are doing the same thing I'm doing, I can provide the service just as good, if not better. And look at it from that kind, it really gives you a shift in your perspective that can really kind of, I think, accelerate your business. I mean, I just look at opportunity everywhere. I'm driving down the road and I see opportunity. We live in the most abundant country in the world. Like, I don't care, whatever problems we may have, I have the ability to literally turn an idea into a business which by the way, I'm sitting in my office. We just got an office space now. So like all of this has just come from me, sitting on my couch, like, I really want to start a business, and to manifest that in the time that I have has been great for me. And it really does come down to a perspective. Like, I've had a lot of people say like, oh, you're not doing this right. It's not, it's not going to work. And I'm just like, you can judge me all you want, but until you start actually doing it yourself and jumping into it and taking the action and busting your ass, okay. I mean, I'll say, thanks for the input, but I just kind of do what I feel is right with it. And I'll tell you one thing, I haven't felt more like alive in my life in a long time.
That's awesome.
And not only that, but I see where I'm at right now, and I'm like, I can grow this into something really big. And that's what I want to do. I really want to kind of just dominate the Cincinnati market. And then I can do so much more with that. So it's been great. I love it. I
think the next step, like you said, I think it's a hugely important thing to mention, this competition. And it's not just about business, it's in life in general. You have to focus on what you can control. You cannot be concerned with what your competition is doing. Like, it doesn't mean be ignorant to them. It just means that you can only focus on what you're going to do. You cannot control anyone else. It's impossible. It's impossible. And if you do put that stress on yourself, it's only going to put you back. You're not going to have – it's like walking – it's as if you're walking with a 10-pound kettlebell on your leg. That's literally what you're doing when you're focusing on competition, because you're shackling yourself to someone else. You're trying to compare yourself all the time. It's not – we're not bringing Bryan on here today to be like, why can't I make $10,000 in your company? It's supposed to be the opposite. It's supposed to show you can. You can do it. If you focus on the right mindset, if you focus on where your niche is, you can do it just like Bryan did.
And that's the thing is it really, you have to get past the idea that the competition aspect, it really is like, I think that was probably one of the biggest blocks for like a lot of my friends that do stuff. And I'm just kind of like, I exactly what you said, you can only control yourself. And so what's the point in wasting your energy on other things that you can't control? And I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I didn't exactly know how I was going to get there, but I did have an idea, and I had a plan to achieve this. Basically, it just started with networking. Reach out to your network you have right now. It might be a lot more effective than you might realize. Somebody might be doing something or low key doing something that you have no idea that, and they're like, yeah, I actually could use your service. And
I think that's the critical aspect, right? There's this mindset. I think this is going to be revelatory to the people listening to this. There's a mindset in business right now, especially in entrepreneurship, that there's like a singular ladder for success. First of all, let's not even get into the word success, because obviously that's totally determined by you. What you determine success is different than what I might determine it. But in the idea as a whole, if you think there's only one ladder to success, and in order to do so, you have to pull the guy on top of you and throw him off and step on top of someone's head and push their feet down and get, it's basically a battle to get to the top. That's not the process. If you have the mindset that everyone's climbing Mount Everest together and there's a couple people ahead of you, there's a couple of you behind you, and if you ask the person ahead of you and he says, hey, go left. If you go left, you're going to learn this and it's going to work for you. If you go right, you're probably going to fall down a little bit. And then you tell the person that's below you the same thing so you can help. That's the process of networking. That's the process of growing your business. That's how you can be successful. You cannot be afraid of failing. You cannot be afraid of no's. You have to be able to put yourself out there, get excited about what the opportunities hold in front of you, and take what's yours. Because like you said, there's so many fish in the sea. There's hundreds of thousands of businesses in all of these cities. You think every single one has marketing already? No, it's still a brand new industry. Brand new industry. You can find your niche even in the bloodiest red ocean we're in, and you can find your niche, make it a blue ocean, and be successful. 100%. Bryan, when you are now thinking about your future, what do you think your next steps for your business are? Like, are you trying to create SOPs? Are you trying to create a fulfillment team? Like, what's your next step for you?
I'm actually trying to launch a couple of digital products myself. And
awesome.
That's what I'm working on right now. It's for my real estate. I do seller finance mortgages. That's not going to get into it right now, but I'm going to be creating something for that. And basically how to broker those, because that's kind of a side deal thing I kind of do. And that's where I originally got introduced to direct mail. But in terms of growing, what's that?
You're going to do an info product?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And kind of
like prospecting on demand, or like a singular, like prospecting on demand coursework, or like just a simple
basically basically a PDF kind of thing, like a book on how we're going to going through the sales cycle. So I'm going to focus specifically on brokering notes, which is where you get access with a hedge fund, and then you do direct mail or you do Facebook funnels. See, I've already been doing Facebook funnels for them, and I've been having great success with that. So then I want to turn around and basically say, look, these are things that you can do to, be a successful broker. And then not only that, but go through the negotiation aspect of it, how to get, because 9 times out of 10, if you're trying to buy a note that has $100,000 on it, for 80,000 or 70,000, they're going to say no. So it's overcoming that no and how to get the seller to yes. They have to understand time value, money. Like I said, I don't want to get into it. I'll start rambling. But basically teach people how to do that and then make money off of that as well. But then say, hey, look, Facebook funnels, I've been able to reach note sellers through this, and I have been testing it and everything. I've been trying to fine tune it to the point where I'm generating more off of that than I am phone calls. And then I'm going to basically upsell a funnel to them as well. So that's something that we're kind of working on the side right now. Really, we just kind of like keeping our clients happy right now. It's been kind of working in terms of scaling. We do want to eventually, I don't know if I want to do fulfillment for other people, but I want to have like an in-house SEO guy, in-house Facebook guy, in-house creative guy. I might outsource 1 or 2 of those kind of deals to somebody, but I want to create a team. And I just kind of want to have a Cincinnati-based business. And me and my partner really want to get into like local philanthropy. And, that's kind of what we're trying to work towards right now. And it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, this is only 4 months. Where am I going to be next year? It's good to see.
Guys, I hope everyone that's listening is really taking a keen listen to what Bryan's saying. Listen to him. He just did this in 4 months. In 45 days, he 10x'd his revenue. 10x his revenue, mostly through networking, through having the team behind him, through some of these prospecting on demand trainings, utilizing his own skills to create a better network that then led to more sales and a business that now he's thinking about the next steps on and the next opportunities. That's how your mindset has to be too. Anyone watching here right now that's struggling to try to generate their first client, that's really hustling, Bryan didn't even really do any inbound lead generation, and that's the best way to generate leads, and that's where he's kind of moving his business in now. He made a business of $10,000 a month just by hustling, just by networking, just by outreach. You can do that, and we're giving you free trainings here in Prospecting Powerhouses to do that. You guys can 100% achieve these goals. Don't let competition fool you. Don't let someone say that, oh, it's too much for you to handle. You can do it. Have the mindset that you can do it. And if you can't, come back and watch this video again and listen to what Bryan's saying, because he did it himself. He didn't listen to his friend that said, yeah, no, Bryan, there's like already 100 agencies here. He said, I don't care. And he proved the process in 45 days. I mean, come on, guys. If you can imagine what your business could be like in 45 days, if you can make an extra $10,000, what would your life be like right now? Bryan, let me ask you, how has your life changed from going from $1,500 in revenue to 10,000 plus in revenue? How's your life changed?
I don't have any credit card debt anymore. Outside of that, I'm a pretty simple person. But I've got control of my time and I can do what I want, and that's kind of the best part about it. But like I said, I've been traveling a lot more. But it's honestly, it's just kind of the aspect of being your own boss and being able to wake up and I know that, like, okay, I've got my job that we talked about earlier, but I don't at any point. I mean, I didn't show up Tuesday or Wednesday. I was too busy working on this stuff. So it's one of those things where I'm my own boss, and that's the power of it. And not only that, but this money gives me the opportunity, because all I want to do is just invest in more real estate. That's kind of all my goal is just take this, live as uncomfortably as possible for the next 5 years, and dump it all into my IRA and my real estate portfolio. And then I can basically, live, what's the guy say, live like nobody will so you can live like nobody can, or something. And that's kind of but now I actually am throwing more money at it. And that's and so it's like, oh, I'll go land another client. I can throw another $700 at it. And that adds up quick. And especially over time, yeah, sure. Eventually I'll start to like settle down, but I'm 25. I'm really just kind of focused on building up my portfolio. And this is giving me the freedom, because you cannot do that on a $50,000 a year salary. It just doesn't happen.
Freeing up your time is so valuable. It's more valuable than any money can be. Like, everyone wants to see and hear about money, but like, I wish my call to actions could be like, Bryan used to work 28 hours a week. Now he works 3. Like, that's the reality of like what everyone wants to actually have. Yeah, the money is just a means to it.
Exactly. The money aspect of it, my whole thing is, I don't ever really plan on retiring. I'm going to continue to do what I love. So I've been more focused for the past 6 years, and I've been striking out left and right. I've been throwing everything on the wall to see what sticks. And this and my note stuff is like the two things that I actually really enjoy. And I actually I enjoy waking up. Like, that's a big thing. Like, I'm not dreading Mondays. I'm not dreading anything. I'm enjoying everything about my life right now. And I couldn't be happier. And I think, to go back to we talked about it a minute ago, success, you don't want to get into it. I think the best definition for success is by Nightingale. I can't remember his first name right now, but it's success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. You can be successful in anything. But I think at the core principle, that's all it is. And that's really what I've been trying to find for my past, decade of my life. And I finally found two things that I'm just like, I'm not a late night person, but I'll stay up with Nick to brainstorm stuff and talk about how we're going to what we're going to do next. It's fun. And you just have to take action. Just do it. It really is all it comes down to, is like, just get out of your shell.
All about taking action. I want to give you guys a story about success here. And if anyone has any questions for Bryan, now's the time to do it, because we're going to jump off here in probably about 10 minutes. I think this will resonate, hopefully, with everyone listening. Earl Nightingale, Joe. Joe's got him locked in, by the way.
I'm liking it.
Joe's got him locked in. For anyone, just real side note, anyone that loves quotes or like wants to see, like, get this book. Tools of Titans, Tim Ferriss, get it. Anyways, in terms of success, there's a couple things that I like to talk about here that I think like really will resonate. When I was a young boy, my family was not exactly very wealthy. It wasn't poor by any means. Like, I was very blessed, but some of the people in my neighborhood, they had, 2-story houses. Their parents were driving Mercedes. Like, they were going to all the football games. Why wasn't I doing that, right? I'm a naive 15-year-old or 12-year-old at the time, whatever it may be. And I asked my dad, hey, why are you not as successful as some of my other friends? Obviously not a question he anticipated, but his answer his answer has resonated and stuck with me still today. And he said, well, that's what you determine success by, Alex. I don't determine success by the amount of money in my bank account. I don't determine success by the cars in my driveway or the house that I have. I determine success by the beautiful 3 children I have, by my beautiful wife and the friends and family that I have around me. I've created that network in my life for at his time, 45 years, to be able to be successful for where I want to be successful. And that really resonated with me very powerfully. I think everyone determines success in a different way. And, some person might define success as being able to take their trip that they've always wanted to Australia, while someone else might define success as finally hitting the 10K mark per month in their business, right? I think that's really important and something that's powerful. One thing I want to recap here for everyone watching, like Bryan said, he was doing this while having a full-time job, working 40 hours per week. What I'm trying to say here is there's no excuses. There's no excuses. I know a lot of people that are doing this full-time without having another job, and they didn't do what Bryan's done already. And it's not like Bryan is some magician and just magically appeared all this. He put the work in. He put the work in to get this done because he took action. He implemented strategies that he's learned and implemented them, and it took action. And now he has a lifeline now, an opportunity to say, well, I could work half the time on this business, make money from here, and work on my own business and grow from there. He's already clearing a directory or a direction of where he wants to go just because he's been able to implement and take action in the last 45 days. If you feel like right now your business is kind of up in the air, a little bit random, take a step back for just a minute, write down some of your goals, write down an action plan, and get after it. Bryan, with that being said, what would you leave everyone with here today? And then we'll end this broadcast and have hopefully a great weekend with everyone.
I would say just, be uncomfortable. Be okay with being uncomfortable. That's really what it comes down to. Because I was as uncomfortable as can be getting on this today. All right, this is not my stronghold at all. I don't like this. I was very nervous about it. I knew I would do it and everything. I agreed to it because I knew that if I didn't give you a time, we would have never done this. And so, just do something every day that really just, you wouldn't usually do. And I went to a meetup on Wednesday that I was like, you know what, I'll actually go to this. I've been meaning to go to it for the past 2 months. Didn't go. And I showed up and ended up, talking to a guy there that is actually going to introduce me to a couple of people that he knows that he thinks might be interested in what I have to offer. And it was just something and it was on the whim. I was actually just driving home and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm driving by it. I might as well go in. I didn't really plan to. I was wearing a t-shirt and, shorts. Like I wasn't there to sell, but I was like, I'll go. And honestly, I think being that way kind of probably helped a little bit because they're like, oh, if he's wearing that, he's not trying to impress anyone, which I wasn't. There's a lot of people that go out there, they try to just, I know what I can do is going to work. Leave it at that,
I love it. Bryan, thanks so much for being on here with us.
Thanks for having me on here, Alex. Thanks.
It was a really great time. Guys, I hope you learned a lot from Bryan. Feel free to reach out and connect with each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll see you guys.
Take care.
Bye.